Let's talk about what has been happening, and we have good political analysts now to help us just to understand from their neutral perspective. Okay, One Kenya Alliance is here. NASA is not there anymore. That was as far as yesterday is concerned. So with me in studio, Daniel Orogo, who is a political analyst, of course, joining me in studio, and of course Hamisi Mboga, who is also joining me live on via Zoom from Mombasa, and just to discuss this one, let me just start with you, Orogo. It's a done deal for NASA. It's a done deal. It was a pre-election pact, and now it's all over.
Well, I think, once again, good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here this morning. There are very intricate issues that one has to consider when, we see this kind of political overtures. One is the legal requirement and the political correctness. And you have been able to see that it's only 3 out of 4 political parties that are formally, written to the register of political parties to inform her about the intent to dissolve it, and thereafter the due course of the law takes its place. And one of the political parties only made that declaration out of an NDC meeting. So in that effect is that the Orange Democratic Movement has not formally written to the ORPP, but the 3 political parties have. In that agreement, actually it stipulates that, if more than 3 political parties opt out of it, then it's a done deal.
It's a done deal.
So I think the presumption is that out of that movement yesterday and out of that decision yesterday, it therefore follows that NASA stands dissolved, legally. One of the things that also you realize is, one of the so-called big brothers of this coalition, is really hiding the cards under the table, because ODM is not really upfront in terms of a final and abrasive decision to exit NASA. One of the things also you realize is that even within One Kenya Alliance, one of the political parties,
that is KANU,
right, is not committal, to dissolving the previous, pre-election alliance they made with Jubilee Party. So I think this One Kenya Alliance is, I would say, is the way to go. One, because NASA stood moribund by some time, and they needed to have a crafting of different political alliance. And you've just hosted the former governor, and I was very keen on the on his submissions about this. And I agree with him that as we head towards election, and I also said it here in this set, that no political parties will carry the day alone. And I think he's also said, he's also just said that there is no political, we need that +1%, and we said it here. And all these political parties has to craft what is a winning alliance, and has to onboard, different, outfits, so that it forms the basis of a coalition. It forms the basis of a winning alliance. Victor, also, as I made my submission, is that, the register of political parties, and in the law and in the constitution, also well stamped in the Political Parties Act, it spells out the nature of a political party. It spells out on how a national political party should have an outlook of it. And that it has to be multi-ethnic, it has to be multi-gender, it has to be, be diverse as possible. So one of the things that we are saying, the jostling in One Kenya Alliance, and I speak for the sense that, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi has been doing the right thing. And one of the things that he has been doing is to make sure that he reaches out, out of his, Luhya Caliphate to the rest of the country. And he's been in Nyeri, and he's been, in in different parts of this country, in Nyandarua, and there are different plans so that he reaches out to other people. And of course, other political parties are having a plan. That is okay for a political party that is working on crafting an alliance.
Exactly. Let me just bring in Hamisi here. Hamisi, it's all done. They had a pre-election pact, all the 4 NASA core principles, and now the 3 political parties, that is ANC, Ford Kenya, and Wiper, have already submitted letters to the office of the registered political parties that it's a done deal. So what's now left for ODM leader Raila Odinga?
Well, thank you for inviting me, Victor, and also the rest of Kenya. We are happy that is warming up a bit. We are looking at the One Kenya Alliance. Most of us, remember last session, we said we need strong parties to contest so that we can be able to have a good choice. My suggestion was 3, up to 1, 2, 3, and any other. I can see that formation coming. So let me talk about the One Kenya Alliance. The deal is done. It's done deal. And also, ODM has also an opportunity. I was looking at their strategic movement. They also wanted NASA to be dissolved because they want to form other coalitions, other partnerships. So this will also help them right now to move even faster, to invite or to join those other formations they think will make a force. Behind the scenes, as my brother says, is 50+1. Remember, 50+1 you were in. And to get to that 50+1, you need to have a strategy to get majority of the votes in a basket to be able to get that 50+1. So I have got a feeling ODM will form partnership and coalitions with other parties, and we can see already Jubilee is on the plate. We don't know which other parties, and we have a number of parties that are outside the One Kenya Alliance, and they are yet to join the Jubilee or join ODM. So the opportunities are there. The time is running out, and I think these people will move very fast. But this is the way to go. Sorry.
Yeah.
You remember every election there are new formations. You and I and us, we have been here now. Toward the end, we may even get more formation. There are parties that will come at the last minute. One challenge of the One Kenya Alliance is who is going to lead it. They have formed a committee, two officers from each party, to negotiate and draw a strategy of finding the flag bearer. That challenge was there in ODM, that challenge was there in NASA, and is now there. So the formation of many parties also has a challenge on who is going to be the flag bearer. I've got a feeling that if ODM came earlier into the One Kenya Alliance, the challenge would have been bigger, because we can see the fear that if Raila is there, people say, we're on the same party, give that old man to finish. It's one concept, it's one issue, but does it have to be like that?
Yeah.
So even now, is it Kalonzo? If you use age as a factor, is it Kalonzo? Is it Mudavadi? What criteria? Is it the strength of the party? Is it the strength of the network? Is it the muscles of resources? So we're going to see a lot of drama in the next few weeks or months before the election.
Okay, let me just bring in Orogo here. It's about trust. And do you think there's a situation where Honorable Raila Odinga will now say, because we want to have another coalition, let me go to Oka?
That's been a very interesting observation, in that sense. That right now already, One Kenya Alliance has got principles who are the front runners, who are the frontiers of One Kenya Alliance, philosophy and its goals, minus the former premier. So the point is, what would that has a political implications of him joining that house called One Kenya Lands, or One Kenya Lands moving to him. You know, it's, and you see what would really be the political implications for this. One, I have a sense that, you know, if Honorable Raila Odinga, you know, gravitate towards, you know, joining One Kenya Lands, there will be conditions that are already put for him.
But is he ready to work with such conditions?
One of the conditions is being told is that he needs to come in as you know, an equal brother. There is no big brother, you know, in One Kenya Lands. And the fear is that ODM joining, becoming a brother that bullies people around, you know, the big man syndrome and all these things. So that condition, I see it bringing a lot of turmoil within One Kenya Lands. And you know, there had been, remember what I said here, that these principles of One Kenya Lands are having, you know, I've learned, as students of politics that have learned from the betrayals that they have seen. And I like what Hamisi is also saying, that when they are busy, one of the things that keeps on, you know, the elephant in the room was who is probably becoming the flag bearer. What is the criteria of having the flag bearer in terms of age, in terms of resources, in terms of, even proponents are saying that we could do a scientific research to establish who is the most popular. And I think, you know, that will gravitate Mudavadi more than, you know, Kalonzo. The other saying that then we should work on a formula in terms of seniority in age. You know, that would, you know, favor one political, you know, principle. So one of the things that I see is that even as there is a discussion about onboarding or in democratic movement, but then I think within the principles of OCA, there needs to be a discussion of who is, you know, the potential flag bearer to run away to be with one coalition. But also, One Kenya Lands gravitating towards ODM, that also has got political implications. And that's what I'm saying, is that ODM, you know, there's a problem in that the statements that have been made by the proponents of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, you know, trying to, you know, diminish the progress of One Kenya Lands, you know, Tamis as you know, as a coalition that heads nowhere, you know, as a coalition of, you remember there's time they were defined even as like, you know, coalition. So I think these are some of the things that needs to be in discussion. But I can tell you for a fact that I am very certain that there is discussions that are happening in the formation of a winning alliance that would face, you know, United Democratic.
And it will not be so shocking to see them working again together. Let me just bring in Hamisi here. The question is so simple. 3 political parties have already quit NASA. ODM has not written officially to quit NASA. What do you think is happening here? What if NASA or ODM doesn't quit NASA formally? What remains?
According to the law, especially the laws that are governing the elections, NASA stands dissolved if that's the situation right now. Because 3 parties, if they move out, I think that the coalition stands officially dissolved. But one aspect, if you look at political scenarios and political strategies, the window is open. ODM still keeps that window open, just in case somebody wants to come back, or somebody can change that alliance into a political, or what my brother said, just change the name and you carry the movement. ODM Kenya changed the names, and we had ODM and ODM Kenya. The scenarios and possibilities in Kenya are so many. One challenge I see, and that my proposal is, let the 3 groups go on. We have UDA, you have One Kenya Lands, and you have ODM and any other parties. Let them go on so that we can have a strong party. But the winning issue is we need a formidable. Remember, we were talking about a common enemy in this political scenario, common target. If you aim at hitting one target, then you need to combine forces. And if you don't combine forces, somebody says UDA will take the place in the morning. So the other challenge that I see in the combination is, again, it has already been talked by my friend, but the selection, if they all decide, let's go for nomination, how is the process? Is it you're getting few delegates from this party, few delegates, and then you choose one common candidate, or strength of the party? We saw it in Kasarani.
Yeah.
When you're joining forces, the personality who has more strings will have the day. So those are technical problems in choosing the leader, and I can see it in play. Even Mudavadi and Mheshimiwa Kalonzo, and we were not mentioning. I don't know why Weta is not coming into the picture very well, because he's part of it. But still, that challenge is there. If you close your eyes, you go to Western. I think you can pick Mheshimiwa Mudavadi. But if you close your eyes and go to the Eastern, you say Kalonzo Tosha. But still, that is not a solution unless we all agree. And this is one of the principles of leadership: give way so that you can lead together. Somebody must come down and say, okay, we agreed, you lead the pack, we shall be there together. I can't see that language coming out right now until we see the formation.
Yeah.
This is a challenge.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay, I'll just come back to you, but let me just ask you this one. NASA.
Yes.
The three principals went ahead and formed One Kenya Alliance, and we saw them pushing for the dissolution of NASA. It was a daily war until now it has come to an end. Let me ask you, was this a ploy to trap ODM leader Raila Odinga to gravitate towards them?
Yeah, no, I think it wasn't not only to politically trap him, but also to strategically, isolate him from the political discussion by that time. And I can tell you that within when that was happening, in the background there was by-election that some NASA principled field candidates against ODM. Yeah. You remember about that? Yeah. In Matungu, Bonchari, this has been happening where the principals are not, they're having their own candidates against ODM, yet, they are in. It also happens, and I can even tell you that there was generally mistrust and disagreement within, the NASA coalition. Yeah. Even in 2017, the luxury to have a joint nomination costed, the coalition, and you realize much of the seats, were lost. Yeah. And I think this was also happening by the fact that there was a need to, strategically endear Raila Odinga on board, but not as a big brother. Also just as, as an equal partner to the coalition. Yeah. There is something interesting that I would want to, point your attention to, and probably point the attentions of Kenyans to. One, you see, legally, that's what I said. Yeah. Legally, this has already been initiated, but politically, it's still on action. And not until ODM, officially writes to the registrar, that is when there can be a discussion about the dissolution. I can tell you this for a fact. But be very careful, because the standing orders of the National Assembly recognizes NASA as minority. Yeah. Okay? So they'll not lose their seats in Parliament. And therefore, if ODM or if ANC, Wiper and Ford Kenya, become abrasive in the dissolution of the coalition, the risk is that all the seats that they garnered out of a coalition agreement in Parliament, both, are risky that it might be declared that they are redundant and needs to be filled. And this is why I am assuming that Orange Democratic Movement is reading cleverly not to dissolve it in finality, because it means that there are members of parliament who are holding minority seats at both houses legally will risk losing those positions. And running agenda of NASA. And running the agenda or even to the interest of Honorable Raila Odinga. Even to the interest of Honorable. And I think this is a clever ploy. Secondly, as a political science student, I can tell you that in the background of a discussion of co-opting Jubilee, and working together with Jubilee. And by the refusal of KANU to, dissolve the coalition agreement Jubilee, there is an offing, there is a discussion, and that is why I am presuming that ODM is not running quick to go and officially write to the registrar and to dissolve, the coalition.
I can see Hamisi nodding here. Hamisi, perhaps you should just rope in. KANU is a bit reluctant, and even from the talks yesterday, he was not at the press conference. But Honorable Musalia Mudavadi said that the discussion was among the NASA coalition members. That is ANC, Ford Kenya, and Wiper. That is why Gideon Moi, the senator, was not in that press briefing. Would you buy this?
And one of the reasons that was in the process of the last 1 or so weeks says, right now I'm in an agreement with the Jubilee, so I cannot formally form another agreement coalition with another party until we dissolve. And you see that's a catch, because if up to the election time, KANU may not be able to join the One Kenya Alliance because of that coalition. But suppose tomorrow Jubilee formally joins ODM and KANU is still in Jubilee. Are we not seeing that actually Gideon's KANU is going to be part of the ODM Jubilee mechanism? So there are so many scenarios coming, and the challenge that I get from the statements from the big politicians is let ODM join us, but on equal basis. In politics, you don't have equal basis. You only have equity of parliament, and you bring 5. How do we divide on equal basis? Even parliament, they don't do that. So the concept of equity, and equity, you're talking about strength, you're talking about the numbers. So these are also things that the team that is calculating who will be able to be our leader, and you cannot limit ODM say come to play the same role like all of us, because the big brother came because of the strength of the party, the strength of the numbers that they have. So it is going to be very difficult for Raila to join, my perception, to join One Kenya Alliance with those kind of conditions. It must be on a plain discussion and agreement. So there's a challenge. I can see a new formation in ODM, Jubilee, KANU. These are projections. These were politicians. And then we have the One Kenya Alliance, and then I don't know, UDA, does it once, because UDA is lucky. If you join UDA, you only go to support the team that's already there. That is the challenge. 2, if Jubilee joins ODM, unless Jubilee has a candidate, then whoever joins ODM will be supporting Raila. These are some of the scenarios that we see when we read the politics.
Okay.
And it is interesting.
All right. Let me ask you, that Daniel.
Yes.
We are in a situation where, in fact, we just talked to former governor here, Honorable William Kabogo. He said that One Kenya Alliance without Raila Odinga cannot make it to an election. What do you think about that?
No, I dispute that. I dispute that. That's what I'm saying. That might be politically appealing, but the reality of our electoral processes right now requires that coalitions be, based on a number of votes you can amass. You see that the Honorable Raila Odinga alone, as it stands, cannot really marshal the numbers to do it, as ODM. And this, Victor, you will see a lot of unfolding things happening here. That the terrain, the political terrain right now, requires the co-opting of different diversities in different political, numbers to marshal the numbers to do that. There had been a discussion about, why is it Raila Odinga coming or us going to him? I can tell you that the 3 gentlemen within One Kenya Alliance are politically engaging, are politically appealing, and are politically meeting the electorates and selling the agenda. And, one of the important things right now, and what will determine this electoral outcome, is that we must also learn to avoid the mentality that we had in different elections. The reality is there's a lot of Kenyans are beginning to have a new political understanding, and their political, objectivity is gravitating towards reading the manifesto and voting people who are capable. And I like that Honorable Kabogo has admitted that right now the discussion is actually concentrating on the revival of the economy, are concentrating on job provision, they're concentrating on integrity. And one determining factor also is that we are having over 5 million young people who for the first time are going to take their voting cards and going to cast their ballot. And this is why I'm telling you, and we've been advising these political bigwigs, please do not be and you're sinking into a mentality where you think that you will be voted purely out of you championing for multi-party democracy. Okay, that is politically false as I speak, because these young people who are for the first time going to vote, they are people who are not keen, for example, in reading history. They are not people who you'd easily talk to them about independence. I mean, they will tell you those that we discussed in books, but they're not politically relevant right now. They are not keen, and this is why. And I would want us sometimes again to come back and discuss the political ideologies. The understanding that UDA has tapped into the minds of these over 5 million voters, new voters, is by appealing to them that even that wheelbarrow that you're being told is not appealing to you is exactly what you need in this struggling economy, and they're buying into it. So any political leader, as much as they have placed themselves to have some history of party democracy, history of revival of the economy, you must get out of your political cocoons and appeal to these young people who are taking vote based on what they are seeing as the current political issues right now.
Okay, gentlemen, I want us to shift gears briefly to something different. And Hamisi, just to give you a minute for your closing remarks on this one. So where do you see the future of one Honorable Raila Odinga? We are getting some reports that there's something coming up shortly in part of central Janza, or we are yet to see, and Homa Bay on Friday. He said, that is Honorable Raila Odinga, that moving forward, we'll start to see campaigns with President Uhuru Kenyatta on this side and him on this other side of the hand. So what are we likely to see moving forward? Having in mind that COVID is still here with us.
I know, but I think people are now strategizing to answer the question that, in fact, my brother has touched, and even Honorable Musalia has touched, and also those people who are talking about bottom-up have touched. The issue is, how do we appeal to the masses? And one of the things, whoever will win will focus on, to me, must focus on devolution. Because when you touch devolution properly, and you decentralize properly, resources and capabilities and engage those people on the ground, you are answering those other questions. If you put more money into the devolution and also to the levels, the jobs that will be created, the markets that will be opened, you are creating. So somebody has to frame a language that will capture the spirit of the people, like what Wheelbarrow has done, to say the young people will be able to benefit. So the way the ODM is doing is saying, why don't we go to the people to hear what do they want, so that when we formulate a formula for campaign, we say this what Nyanza requires in terms of economic development. This what to cost once from economic. So when you do that, you appeal and then you use the numbers to be able to campaign. I think people will be competing on those issues rather than what we are just saying about the principle. The other thing is, let's not stop at wheelbarrows will be able to change the economy. Let's go down. How? What is there and what is not there, and how will this change so that it can be there? Two, we have one whole year. In politics, 1 day is good, but in science again, 1 whole year is a long time. You can transform things. Can we see a pilot of whatever people are saying that can happen in one area? so that we say, oh, if you elect me, this is what I'm going to multiply. This is what I'm going to distribute. So I think ODM is creating a situation where they'll come out with a document and say, this is what our people want, and this is what we're going for. And then those elements of economics, those elements of social aspects, those elements of youth and gender should be combined in those in that document, so that everybody sees I'm part of it. I'm part of it. And also the input of participation. Yeah. You feel like, oh, we say the youth must be there. I was in the meeting and the youth aspect is there. So you need a lot of psycho-social scientist combination of this. Is not a normal election like those others we saw. You remember during Kanu time, people had one party and you could not say anything outside the party. So you were using the symbol. In Mombasa, there was bottle and tar. Bunja chupa washa tar. There was nothing apart from tar. When you have a lamp, you can sip up. When you have a bottle, you can put milk and soda. It was, things have changed. Like my brother said, the generation is not that bunja chupa washa tar anymore.
Yes.
So we need to come with the catchphrase, but also examples of what can be done. We have 6 months. Let them demonstrate that actually whatever they want to say can be done. And I can see the value of combining forces so that they put their heads together. If you join Jubilee and Jubilee is still in the ruling party, demonstrate activities in the last 6 months so that you can say we're going to multiply this.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Let me just we can't afford to talk about this one. We talked about it with Honorable Mboga here. On the front page of the Daily Nation, we have it on the Star and other local dailies. It's been running, all through for a few days now. The issue of Deputy President William Ruto being stopped at the airport for 5 hours, and now it's forming part of a debate. Orogo, what do you make of this? Is it that bad?
I think this is very unfortunate, and I also agree with the former governor talked about. When such headlines are splashed, not only in the national news headlines in this country, but also making international headlines. It portrays us as a country that is not really subjective to the international laws that governs our protocol. It has, and this is why I said some of these decisions that we make blunders us and paints a wrong image to this country amongst the League of Nations. It might be politically instigated in some quarters, but has got effects that are far and widespread. One, let me say that this blunder has been made on both sides. One, I see it that even as it was reported that he was kept in for 5 hours waiting clearance. I believe that it would not be a good thing to keep the second principal assistant of the president waiting if the intentions are known and he's been flying outside to meet foreign friends in private capacity. Victor, we talked about this last time here in this set. I mean, I'll remind you that the issue about the deputy president flying, we talked about here, and we said very well that there is protocol that has laid out in the national security advisory protocol that the clearance needs to be done for the second in principle needs to seek clearance from the heads of state. It is legal. It is legal and it's within the law. The CS, the chief administrative officers, the permanent secretaries that are flying for duties must seek clearance from the head of public service. Those are matters that are within the law. Now that's why I'm saying the tactical blunder and the political capital that we are getting out of this news portrays us very wrong internationally. Because one, if the head of public service admitted that there was no issue about him clearing the deputy president, then it means that there are quarters within the deputy president handlers that blew the issue out of proportion and providing a political capital out of it. So as a concerned citizen, as a citizens of Republic of Kenya, the security of the deputy president is hell-bent on the national security apparatus. And therefore, as a voter, as a resident of this country, I deserve answers to know what was at stake when it comes to the security and the protocol of the deputy president. That first of all. Secondly, on the other flip side, I said that, you see, it is important for official leaders and the leaders of this republic to be very careful on the forays that we make internationally. And I said this very well. One, we have a problem with our security issues in the Horn and Great Lakes region. Just across up here in northern Ethiopia, there is war that is going on. That is Tigray region. There is massacre that is going on in that region. Instability in the region. Down here in Rwanda, the people are scampering for safety. You know, opposition leaders are scampering for safety. In Tanzania, opposition leaders are being held. You know, just in the border on the east, Somalia, there's a problem. So when we see our leaders who are conversing by leaders who their international integrity is of question, as a citizen of Republic of Kenya, as a matter who is concerned with the security of our national borders, I have to question what then is at stake with the meetings of these leaders whose integrity to rule of law, whose integrity to governance are in question, not only internationally but within the region.
Hamisi, what do you make of all this? Because what is said, let me just perhaps just ask in this way: the MPs were allowed to travel after they sought that permission from the relevant authorities, from the Speaker of the National Assembly. So what now stopped the Deputy President from flying?
You see, my brother has really talked about it, but let me add value that in any system, there must be the protocol that must be followed. Two, the Vice President is not new. He has been there over eight years. How has been the process? He has been moving out and said, what was the procedure? The other thing that I want to talk very quickly is you cannot be a private person if you are in that position. When you land in a place, you are the Vice President of that country. So you must carry that element, doing your private work, but also representing the country. Has the system been alerted locally, internationally, so that you are living here with security informed, and you are landing there with public foreign affairs waiting for you, because you are representing the country. You could do your business, but also chip in. So because of that, there's a breakdown. There's a breakdown in the presidency in terms of the two big people. Are they communicating? What is the problem of picking a phone? Ringing your boss, say, I've got something I want to do in Tanzania. If that is not done, then there's a breakdown of information. And where do you go if that is not clear? So I have a lot of reservation of not knowing exactly what happened, but still on the surface we are reading a lot of stuff. We are reading that the two principles of ours are not communicating, and that can be a problem. If anything happens, who is going to be responsible? And people who are supposed to take care didn't know that there was that kind of truth. And also the issue of stopping the big man also until you get clearance, it's not very appealing to the rest of us, because we are misreading. All of us are saying, oh, exactly what happened. So this, when you're in this office, please play it in such a way that you don't alert and you don't invite comments from the public with different views. So there is no communication, and that is dangerous for the next six or so months if we're going to have it that way.
Just to give you a second to give your closing remarks, because moving forward, we are likely to see, you know, the political tension starting to rise and the temperature is also starting to rise. We have exactly 1 year to go to an election. What can we do to make it peaceful, even to the politicians?
One, there is our national security apparatus should, one, be very candid and strengthened in terms of spelling out the do's and the don'ts, that if any political leader commit, they would be answerable to the charges. Secondly, those institutions that are tasked with monitoring the conduct of electoral leaders would at least and also go and begin to sensitize not only the leaders but also the citizens of Republic of Kenya to report on the leaders that are inciting ethnic tension, that are stoking inter-ethnic animosity, so that the country would be witnessing an election that is free and fair. Lastly, and this is one area that is going to cause a lot of political tensions as we head into this, I am advocating for the Office of Registrar of Political Parties to fast track the campaign finance bill. This is a problem that if we are not going to fast track it, that is going to bring some political issues. Bribery, vote stuffing, and all these things are taking place. Inciting and buying people who are going to cause ethnic are taking place because we do not have a law that regulates what is the level and the limit of political expenditure. What then? Finally, the NCIC, the National Cohesion Integration Commission, in collaboration with the ethics and integrity, must bring up leaders who are stoking ethnic tension and take measures so that we avert any political crisis.
All right, gentlemen, I think we are stuck of time, and just to bring this discussion to a close, I think we have just to close it there. But as you correctly put it, we must be accountable. I mean, leaders, there is no better way of having campaigns, and then after an election, you have a country to govern. All right, and the people who are going to vote for you are the citizens that you are going to antagonize. For what benefit? All right, so that brings us to an end for this discussion. Thank you so much for joining us. That has been Daniel Orogo, who is a political analyst, as well as Hamisi Mboga, who is a political analyst and a governance expert, joining me via Zoom all the way from Mombasa. All right, that does it for now on Good Morning Kenya. On behalf of the entire crew, my co-host, that is Doreen Arange, Jane Wamboy, and Regina Manyara, thank you so much for joining us, and the entire crew. Let's do this again tomorrow. My name is Victor Law. Have a good morning. Bye-bye.